everyone, welcome back to Lombok and specifically the Mandalika Street Circuit. After the wacky races that we've had in splits A and B, it's time for two more races for this weekend. Welcome everyone back to Mandalika, of course, for the Epilogue 600 at Mandalika. And this time, we will be concluding round 3 of the HoloProto World Qualifiers, round 5 of HoloProto Japan Qualifiers, and to commence the second half of round 6 of HoloProto International. This time we'll be racing the World Split C and D here in Mandalika International Street Circuit. But anyways, let's take a look into the track map here. As you can see here at the northeast end, that is where the main straight is. Turn 1 and the circuit runs clockwise. As you can see here, this is a track that is basically fast and sweeping. So tires are going to take an absolute beating, especially in these hot, warm and humid conditions. In this 4.3 kilometer circuit, 17 corners for every lap the drivers will need to face, with a race distance of 150 kilometers each for 35 laps. Well, 35 laps each for each of the races, which of course 150 times 4 races equals 600. And of course, we got the lap record of 123.360 that has been beaten by a 122. Let's see if we can go into the 121s this time by. Alright, we've already covered splits A and B in a lot of detail, so let's take a look at the split C's current situation here. So, no one is basically guaranteed to be in the CEO or Zago just yet. We already have names that will not be topping the standings. Of course, Saziazi, Mizaki Sakura, Dak Patterson are one of the three, well, those three names that will not be able to top the group after the end of this qualifiers, but everyone can still have a chance to either make it or not make it in the CEO. But this will be highly dependent on results coming in their way. Of course, Sobyung and Lexi Bowen currently occupy the top end of the standings in a heated contest. 6 points separating between the two. Sven Jensen and Iron also not far behind as well. Meanwhile, on the cutoff, Ryan Kagwa leads at Sky by about 17 points. Of course, anything can change in this weekend. We've seen names are supposed to be in the CEO suddenly get bumped out of it. But anyways, let's also take a look into the split D standings just to get a bit of a refresher before we start the split C qualifying. Rafael Oliveira, following his win, well, not exactly following his win, but following his very good finishing run where he finished no lower than 5th in the two races, has now occupied a first place spot. Sayrin in second, also providing a decent challenge as well. Daniel Barger, Masaraido, Songo, and Tyler Williams occupy the top 6 spots, with Go and Williams actually scoring the tiebreak, scoring a tie, but Songo beats the tiebreaker by virtue of his podium finish in Fuji. Cal Gibbs and Jake Martinez currently occupy the cutoff line spot in the CEO, with Lorenzo Ricci and Vlad Tomaso just barely behind. Johnny Panata, Hinochi Tayo, Angela Sims, and Joey also would like to have a good result to put them into the spot into the world CEO. Moshe Reza as well. For Joshua Zuri, a win has to be on the cards for him to suddenly thrust himself into CEO contention. He needs at least a P2. He needs at least a P2 to have a chance to qualify for the CEO in an otherwise wretched season for him, where he was mired with crashes after crashes after crashes. I just hope that things would change from this point on. Let's not waste too much of our time. Let's move on to qualifying. My name is in the commentary booth. This is a different temperature. But anyways, we are now in qualifying for today's races here in Fuji Speedway. Well, we're seeing a few viewers here. Hope you're enjoying your day anywhere in the world, as we're now going to probably get this qualifying session ready. No cars out. The timer has ticked down. I stand corrected. And coming out is, of course, that looks like Yamisaki Sakura representing Aski. Sakura also didn't have a good season. From the looks of things, of course, only scoring as high as 12th in the first race of the season in Fuji. And then in Le Mans, where it basically counts towards the World Series qualifiers, championship and all that. Sakura actually finished in 27th. And Nakamura, of course, currently at the bottom, near the bottom end of the standings as it stands right now, with only a 7th place finish to a credit at Fuji. Didn't score any points in a 33-32 car race in Le Mans. It's basically one of the few stories a day. Dak Patterson, of course, is currently out of the CO series right now. But if he can get 3rd place or higher, then he might thrust himself into qualification for the CO. So we are going to go on board him as the driver we have also actually substituted for Dan Evans, who's now hiring the Adak-RMS organization in the Iron Man UFC right. He's gotten 4th, but with Delicious getting 80 kilos of ballast. That hasn't changed since Motegi. Let's see how an onboard lap looks like as Dak Patterson takes it to the final corner. Very smooth sailing there as this long straight. 100-meter board is your braking reference into turn 1. So that's turn 2, 50-meter marker into turn 2. Down into first gear. Slow the car down in, get a good turn, double apex corner, turn 3 and 4, and then flat out, get a good exit for turns 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. You basically don't need to lift, you just need to make sure you park your car correctly. And then showed, down into turn 10. 100-meter board, decently heavy braking into turn 10. 50-meter mark. Very well, my Eagle turn 12. Short blast into turn 13. Tap on the brakes as you try to start with track limits. Fly out into this section. And then you come into this tricky braking and turning section. Turn 15, hit the apex, and then immediately brake into turn 16, down into first gear. Arctic car very well for the late apex final corner, and that will be a lap at Mandalika. Dak Patterson, 126.680. It's going to be a bad omen there. Speaking of which, Aya Nakamura, who's currently out of the CEO positions, is now at a 122.957. 122.957 for Nakamura is going to be an absolute delight for the Hatons, because this Nakamura on a good day could actually top the split C standings as a result. Jensen goes P3. Drivers who are still on their outlines. We have Yusa's car having issues, so that only leaves us with the Himamori Luna driver, Madam Kiriko. She's on her way into the start-finish straight. Anyways, if you have more thoughts in the comments, please let us know. She just started her lap and exiting turn 1. Pretty solid right now. Turn 3 and 4. She's looking pretty okayish right now. 28.659 for the first sector. I think this is going to be very similar to one of the laps we've seen. And now we are confirmed, had confirmation that she's currently the last driver on the track. Just leaving absolute clear air in front of her. 53.049. This would mean that she will only be good enough for maybe 5th place unless she finds time in the final sector. But the final has a record of, you know, having drivers mess up their runs and all that, and now Kiriko is about to complete her run. It's in the final corner, looks pretty tight. OP9 for Hanami Kiriko, as that will be the last of the drivers crossing the line. And also Ryan Kagawa is currently at the top end of the standings for Povolio Rene after his showing in Laguna Seca. Absolutely done him favors. Let's take a look at the starting lineup here for the Split C race of the Mandalika races. Well, the Epilogue 600 Mandalika Split C race. But anyways, Ryan Kagawa currently occupies the pole position spot for Split C alongside Ira Nakamura, who is aiming for a good result here. A podium finish to get herself into the CEO Series, World and Japan. Sven Jensen for Iris will start P3 alongside Lexi Bowen for Shirogane Noel. This is P5 for Ayunda Risu with Hazit Yazit 6 for Sherry Novella. Natsuro Matsuri is Chaka Labradors in P7 with Iron for Hakos Bales in P8. Hanami Kiriko will start alongside Misaki Sakura for Himamori Luna and Asuki respectively. The first of the Ligiers and the device class cars, Ali J in P11 with Edsky 12 for Kazuma Iroha. Sobyang in 13, Dak Patterson 14 for Kogardi Nico and Isaki Rion respectively. Rudy will start P15 for Mizumiyasu. And at the back of the field, with car not being able to start, Riley will start at the back in P16, excluding the safety car. Alright, 16 cars lined up on the grid. We are about to get the race underway. 35 laps in total. And as we're about to get the lights on, and it's going to be Ryan Kagawa facing off the rest of the field here in Split C of the Epilogue 600 at Mandalika, and the race is on. Great launch there from Kagawa as they're now coming into turn 1, and really has issues still and is currently at the pit wall right now. Ryan Kagawa to 6 around the outside to try to bring the Povolio Arena car up into the front, and up into the front he did. And Sven Jensen beats Lexi Bowen for P3, and that's a poor run there from Bowen, and she's getting swamped by other entrants here, and it's going to be Kagawa leading Nakamura and then Jensen in P3, Mosev in P4, Lexi Bowen is in P5, as with the field still chasing. start there from Sven Jensen to put himself up into P3, but he still has challenge though from Wazif. And as you can see here, the green-winged Indonesia class drivers absolutely showcasing their potential and talent, with two of the ID class representatives absolutely showing their worth here. Currently, four of them are in, well, two of them inside the top 5, which the local fans are absolutely loving it. Side-by-side action with Ali J and Sky. Sorry. As they're now coming across the start-finish line once again to start lap 2. They're going to make 34 more rounds around the circuit. And as you can see here, and then running outside goes Ali J, but I don't think she has a good exit. Wazif Bowen is currently up into P5. Well, coming down in P5. She's doing very well right now in the first stages of this race. Kagawa still trying to soak up the pressure though from Nakamura. By the way, if you have any thoughts in the chat, please let us know. We'll take the time to read your thoughts and try to express our opinions on that. But anyways, it is still a pretty okay race here in Mandalika. Temperatures, I believe, haven't exceeded 30 degrees yet. First drivers have already completed 2 laps. Sven Jensen already chasing Nakamura and Kagawa as the fastest car on the field. Sven Jensen, of course, looking into the standings here, currently occupies 3rd and is in a good position to qualify for the World CO Series. As you can look at water, everyone, of course, is going to fuel up pretty early. Well, the driver's not pitting later than lap 10 and 11. Lap 10 or 11. So they saw how Riba tried to gamble with a no-stop strategy, and that didn't really work out for him. And as you can see here in the Split B results, he did at least finish 3rd after starting at the back of the grid. And yeah, Dak Passon had done very well though in the race in the early Split B race, substituting for Evans. But now coming into this weekend where the Ligiers have been struggling, especially with the ballast, it feels like they are being unraveled as we speak. Sven Jensen 122.639. Laps or 3 laps already complete. Nakamura still chasing Kagawa by 1 second. Lex Bowen meanwhile on to positive right now. Well, at Sky on to Ali J for P11, but then again we also want to pay attention to the pit stop strategies that we may be seeing with the Ligiers. Because Ali J, I do want to point out though, is currently losing touch with Kiriko right now. With the Ligiers already losing touch by the second here. And you can see here at the medium track Coons, the Ligiers have been struggling. Kagawa now has the fastest lap of the race, 122.634. while leading. And also want to point out the low amount of attrition here in today's race, as now we're going to be seeing Ed Sky potentially trying to make a move down the inside into turn 1. Oh yeah, we have Renews' retirement. He is also basically a driver who's guaranteed to be in the Zato, which is pretty much unfortunate for a driver of his caliber. Of course, having won a race for Saki Riona last year. Yeah, first driver's now coming into the pits. Ari Nakamura is going to go ahead with the undercut strategy. But from what we've seen in the first 2 races, the undercut strategy isn't the strategy to go. I'm not sure what Nakamura is thinking. Same goes for Doris. Fellow Gen 1 teammates. And also coming into the pits is Dak Patterson and Rudy. Not taking their time for pit stop services, with Ed Sky now coming into the picture against Ali J, who's currently up into P9 after pits, currently in the pit stop cycle right now. That Patterson, first car to come out, and it looks to me that it's pretty okay right now. He does have at least clean air, so he might try to find his way into the top 10, but whatever the case is, his qualification for the CEO is currently in massive jeopardy. With the car not showing up again, I think this is going to be it for Patterson. For Patterson's CEO Series aspirations. It's not been a good ride for him so far. With in a race that was supposed to be his for the taking, he basically had a retirement. But in Le Mans, he did manage to score a measly, and I don't want to say measly because what is going on here? Because he only scored a measly P19 in the race. On which it's absolute, which I believe it is absolute travesty. We're seeing more drivers coming out of the pit box right here. Moazif over Iron. Nakamura has actually been beaten by Aziz Moazif. The overcut strategy absolutely showcasing its potential here, and actually responded to Nakamura's undercut here. Iron has also beaten Nakamura for good measure. So let's see, once again, Iron, Nakamura, Bowen, Labradoris, and then Ali J, Sobyung and Dak Patterson, and then Rudy occupying the remaining spots on the grid. Everyone, the remaining runners in this race are at least guaranteed of a point at this point. Who's currently in the mid-pack, coming in for her stop. Wasif, meanwhile, in P7 on a charge right now, as also one of the ever so present stalwarts in the ARO right now, having raced there since 2022. Will continue on as the first driver has actually finished making a pit stop. And Kiko's just gone now, and I don't think they will be able to challenge Iron Nakamura, but it will be a great jumping position for Nakamura as it stands. If she can get ahead of Labradoris and get ahead of Labrador. She actually did, because she is now, as it stands, possibly up into P7. Currently amongst the drivers have already pitted. Kiriko is 5th, but we have yet to see Kagawa, the incumbent race leader. Now he is coming in for his pit stop. Kagawa and Jensen now currently in their pit stops here. Wanzip is only at the final corner. Kagawa absolutely putting the strategy to work here, as now Kagawa is going to look to exit in the lead. Nakamura actually having a mare of a stop and her being blocked by traffic. Just reinforces our point that you cannot do an undercut strategy here in Mandalika. And now Kagawa has a decently sized lead over the Hajima driver. And 14-15 seconds. We find that could be pretty outrageous, but go ahead. Meanwhile, Hasegazi and Misaki Sakura are currently in a dogfight for position, but it's not like they will be staying out for long, because they might be coming in for their pit stop as well. They're going to be staying out for now. Kagawa, Jensen, Wanzip, Ivan, Nakamura in the top 5 as it stands. After pit stops, at least. Of course, there's Kagawa and Sakura. Sorry, Yazid and Sakura, but they have yet to make a pit stop. This time we're going to be seeing the two cars now coming in for their stop. Yazi and Sakura, the last drivers to come in. They've already actually lost a good amount of time though to Kagawa, who's absolutely on a massive charge. Looking at the information charts, Kagawa actually has 2 wins under his name, one for Bavaria Arena and the other for Nerissa. When he was racing for Nerissa, he won a Formula Hall Life race in Singapore back in 2024, and he won in Sepang in just last year. And as we've had our thoughts here, Sakura drops down to 7th, Yazi drops down to P8, Kiriko actually is down into P9. So they actually had a decent pit stop to boot. And now with everyone making their pit stop, let's take a look into the progress charts. Iron for an amazing jump from P8 to P4. More didn't have the best of starts. Now she's down into P6. Nakamura had a terrible pit stop strategy, well, pit stop itself. And now she's lost 3 positions from where she started in P2. But we gotta have to go on. Yes, let's just chill and enjoy the race as we are coming into the mid stages of the Epilogue 600 Mandalika Split B race, sorry, Split C race. Guide for ARO is currently running in P11. Right now there's a big question though. Who would you support in this race today? Because the Pavolia rated car is currently leading and the Ayunda Research car is in P3. With the Brixid and Holo ID 1-3 in this race. Since like ID cars performing in Mandalika. I do want to point out though that Enzo Ferrari and Dak Patterson, where they reached Ollie and Yofi, they finished inside the top 5, both of them. In Split A, it's a slightly mixed bag with Miyuki finishing P7 and Lusby in P12. Now we're seeing ID cars in the 1-3 position at home for talents. And right now looking into drivers are actually going at it. Sky looking to get into lap doors here. Fat Passing now dropped down to P14 and looks like every one of the Delicious are in their own pack. Just hopefully rolling around in, at the back of the field. Sub Young Gun, who's currently in P13. Well, might just be the only driver in the device class to qualify for the World CEO, with Rudy at serious risk of not qualifying. Miliu, Ali J, and Dak Patterson are already out of the cut line, so that will be a problem for them. Currently in P7. The run so far, everyone, just basically chilling here at the moment. 13 laps complete here in Mandalika, and right now we are going to be seeing where the pace will be ebbing and flowing. find a way past Bowen for P6. Sakura, of course, is also outside the cut line. We'll need to see if she can get into the podium to make her way, well, to force her way into the World CEO. But instead, Kagawa Jensen and Wazif currently occupying the hot spot. Kagawa, of course, currently in the final cut line, in the final place above the cut line. Hazigiazi at the back of the field. Hazigiazi currently in P8, currently right at the back of the field. Sven Jensen and is currently the only driver inside the top 3 to be within the cut line. Is with Rai Kagawa above the cut line. Aziz Wasafe is actually below the cut line, and within this podium, this will absolutely thrust him into the CO series as it stands. Iron and Iron in P4 will mean that this will be basically a safety net for her. Nakamura, of course, in P5, he's gonna basically want to have all the points possible to get herself into the CO. And below that, we're not going to be seeing any changes in the standings. We are looking at Rudy and Checolapdoras potentially in a dangerous position to not qualify for the CO. Chico, meanwhile, at Le Mans, she actually had a very good run here when she finished P5. Extended format gave her 150 points. Nakamura still looking for pace. She's barely her way into the straight. Kagawa still in control. Jensen in P2, Aziz in P3, Irene in P4, Nakamura in P5. Oh, here comes Lexi Bowen in P6. Sakura looking to get herself into a position here. Lexi Bowen couldn't defend the outside line. Nakamura. Sakura continues her charge to force her way back into the studio. A P3 might just be on the cards. She's got a fast car, and she can just nail it, and it will be good news for the pioneers who have been putting a lot of their hopes and dreams onto her. Coming into the halfway stage here in Split C. And right now, we're going to be taking a look here. Sven Jensen absolutely closing in. The Irish number 86 entry. Sven Jensen has actually got... Well, a lot of these drivers actually have winning pedigree. Of course, Sven Jensen had won 3 races. A few of them in Formula Hall Live, but one in HoloProto crucially, where he won the Zako Series Suzuka race. Sakura, meanwhile, has actually managed to overtake Nakamura for P5 at the same place and method where she overtook Lexi Bowen. Sakura currently in P5. Is going to be an interesting permutation actually, because as long as Sakura gets into P3, and this is gonna be a big if, because this is where Aziz Mwazif is right now. And of course, Misaki Sakura, if she gets P3, she will place herself at 167 points. I'm not sure how the cut line would work. It could all still be for naught. So it looks to me that she will need a P2 at the very least to get. If she needs a P2 right now to get into the World CEO. But anyways, Sven Jensen absolutely closing in onto Ryan Kagawa as we start the second half of this race. Currently, it's 2 EN class cars having already won here in Mandalika. Can we see another? Can we see another EN class car spoil the party? Kagawa absolutely closing in. Meanwhile, the odds of getting lap cars are absolutely absolutely closing in, looking into the opening there. The Kagawa was absolutely opening in, and now Sven Jensen is trying to see if he can get a move down the inside potentially, but currently there is none. And Misaki Sakura continues her comeback here as she now goes down the inside of Iron, coming in the middle of the S's. But Sakura is absolutely on the charge. Everyone feels like they don't have any pace, but Sakura is brimmed with it, and now her eyes are set on getting that P3. And as it stands right now, it will not be enough for her to make the CEO series, where of course the CEO series is the championship series, and the Zako series is basically consolation. Here's Sven Jensen though, going around the outside on Ryan Kagawa to take the lead here. But Kagawa isn't going to give this one up just yet. They're both alongside at the main straight. But it's going to be Kagawa's going to be slightly ahead. But Jensen is going to try to make a move down the inside to try to force Kagawa to the position. But Kagawa manages to defend as it stands. Meanwhile, Sakura goes down the inside into turn 17. And it's going to be Sakura having a great run. And it's now going to be Sakura charging in towards the top 2. Sakura absolutely needs to turn on the styles here. If she needs to have a 2 second, she needs to be 2 seconds faster than Kagawa and Jensen to be able to catch them before the race ends. There's only 15 laps to go, and the gap is at 18 seconds. But unfortunately for these two, in the event Kagawa and Jensen do get into some fights, that will mean both of them will lose time, and this is going to be crucial when it comes to trying to fend off Sakura for at the final stages of this race. Jensen. And you can see here where they easily coming from Sakura now, continuing to close the gap. And there's also the threat of lap cars currently in the way. Rudy and Dak Patterson will play a part in today's race, but it's just that they're not going to be the ones fighting for the lead. Instead, they're going to be used as a pick as a result. And right now, the area Supercross are going to be watching with bated breath to see how Sven Jensen handles this against Kagawa. If Kagawa is able to defend and both of them still lose more time, Sakura can reel them in. And as you can see here, Sven Jensen. I'm not sure if this is the place. He hasn't looked there. Trying to close the gap. She's currently at turn 12. Kagawa and Jensen is at the turn 6. They're at the turn 16 hairpin. A lot of cars already coming in there now. So 125. The Sakura is plateauing. That this will be bad news for her, and that this will mean her CO series aspirations will be slipping away. Split B, Sakura is also outside of the CO, but only by a small margin. Gap to Kagawa, only half a second. We're just gonna have to monitor the situation. It is going to still be pretty much a touch and go affair. Is going to try to go down the inside into turn 16 once again. If Kagawa can defend this, which I might think he's unable to, Sven Jensen now takes the lead here. But before that, he's gone wide at the final corner. They're both going to go side by side, and it's a very hairy moment there from Sven Jensen, and that will allow Sakura to further close the gap. Here the gap's absolutely dropping down. Sakura setting at 124.5. If these two get into a battle once again, and especially if they get into lap cars, this is going to be especially bad news for their chances of this win. The odds that they might need to work together, however, that might not be the case. They are still racing here, and of course it has to be reflected that way. Alright, so we are just gonna do some calculations there while we're at it. Japan Split A, all of their entrants have actually done their runs in the Split A race, and you can see here in yesterday's races. So you can see here 136.2 for both Kagawa and Jensen. Well, Sakura, if she's able to set a 124, then this will be a good chance for her to further close the gap. 124.269. Sakura is absolutely going to go for it. And if she can get this win on the track that she won last November, then this will be absolutely good news for her CO Series aspirations, that she will be in the World CO in both HoloProto World and Japan. Still a massive question mark onto Sven Jensen and Ryan Kagawa have reached the point of lap cars. This will cause a huge amount of pandemonium. Here's Kagawa already retaking the lead over Jensen as a result. Kagawa might have just a bit of a hard time But right now, Kagawa will have a bit of a safety net as they are now coming into the lap car. But this will all play into Sakura's hands, as if she can overtake Jensen, then she has a very good chance of making the CEO, the World CEO Series. Right now, Sven Jensen has now gone on into clearing the lap car of Rudy, and again, this will mean lots of time lost. Sakura's gap to Sven Jensen is now at 9 seconds. 9 seconds. On which sometimes you just cannot believe what you're seeing. But of course, this is what you're getting here. Want to confirm to you all the split A the split A standings after Mandalika, which is the final round of qualifiers. The Wizard has been shoved out of the CEO series by Kaminari Riba, who of course got with that third place finish. Everyone else has remained where they were. Sakura's gap to Jensen and Kagawa at around 7. Gap to Jensen is around 7.8 seconds, and it's going to be closing by the minute. Here comes Kagawa down the inside, and already making the move work against Dak Patterson. There will be more time lost for the two. But here comes Sven Jensen now coming down the inside to take the race lead again. Into turn 16, it's going to be Sven Jensen on the inside, and it's going to be a massive mistake from Kagawa. Sven Jensen is going to take the lead, and this time with a pretty massive gap. Now Dak Patterson is going to cause some issues there, slightly, but it's going to be Kagawa now losing a lot of ground against Sakura, who is now only around 5 to 6 seconds. What happens when you have clean air in front of you and you're not obstructed by traffic. Right now, Sakura is absolutely going to make this work. Momentum is with her right now. Right now, the projected standings will be a very dramatic one if the results currently stand. Nakamura in P7. As it stands, Nakamura will not make the CEO. It was a good try for her to qualify up on top, but her race pace just isn't there. Kazuyoshi will be consigned into Zako as well. Kiriko will be safe as it stands. Labradorus in P10 will technically be safe as well. Red Sky currently in P11 is also going to be pretty okay as well. So Byung-eun will look to make the CEO by the skin of his, but not exactly by the skin of his teeth, but he will make the CEO. Ali J will also look to not make the CEO as well as Dak Patterson. as it stands right now, I don't think it's still enough for Sakura. I'm looking at the points calculations here. Wazif needs to drop a few more points here. And right now, Iron Lexi Bowen is still chasing. So right now, it is still pretty much outside the hands of Sakura, who even with a P2 finish, will not be able to win, not be able to qualify for the World Studio, and she will be out by 14 points against Wazif as we're doing the live counters here. Sven Jensen now currently still pulling away. Kagawa is also still pulling away. Now Sakura is going to be dealing. It's now going to be Sakura's turn dealing with the lap cars. It could be a dream too good to be true. And this will bump Sakura down into P11. Rudy will still be out of the seal. Wazin will still be safe. Currently, there won't be a lot of there's still no change of who is in and who is out. Unless, well, both of them crash. Which I don't think this will happen. Labrador is in P10 right now, chasing Ed Sky. Labrador is also still in the divisional CO spots here. And if he drops a few points, in P10 still making a move against Kiriko in P9. Sven Jensen now still leading Kagawa. And it will be a 3 out of 4 for the EN class at this rate. Sakura will continue her valiant effort as she will now force her way against Rudy, who will be dropped down a lap. Iron still in P5, chasing Wazin for P4. And this could still be a sliver of hope there. But right now Sakura is losing ground to Kagawa and Jensen. In terms of outright pace, Kagawa still might not have any answer though to Sakura, who's currently running in P3. At the changes in the running order, Sven Jensen as it stands will top split split C. Lexi Bowen will drop down into P3 as a result. Ryan Kagawa will be trusted into P2. So Byung-eun we'll get confirmation that So Byung-eun will be the only one of the Flow Glow drivers who will make the CEO. Kiriko will also look to be pretty safe right now in the CEO right now, with Aziz Mwazif as it stands being the last of the drivers. Actually, he was outside the CEO, but with his results, he will send Rudy out of the CEO as it stands as well by about 14 points as we've established earlier. mistake there from Kagawa. That's gonna give Jensen a lot more breathing space. This guy will be trusted into the top 10. And unfortunately, with this result, Dyke Madison will most likely be mired at the tail end of the qualifier standings. Not the result he has in mind. And right now we are going to be seeing the realistic possibility that the results will not change today. Well, the results will not change from this point on as far as the results are concerned. Right now, Sven Jensen in good control right now in P2. Lexi Bowen in P6. Gap still opening up between Kagawa and Sakura. Despite Kagawa and Sakura having to win the lap cars. Lap here of the penultimate lap of the Epilogue 600 at Mandalika Split C race. And right now, this is what we meant about Mandalika's track characteristics. A track that is very good for hot lapping but not good for racing, because a track that's very good will challenge the drivers in terms of like technical skills, like fast sweeping corners, elevation changes, but this will come at the cost of creating dirty air, especially with high-speed corners that will make following other cars from behind a harder time due to the outwash that the cars generate. So we're not seeing, so why we're not seeing a lot of racing. So anyways, Sven Jensen has started the final lap here in Split C. With the time currently still ticking, Sven Jensen will now make his way into the checkered flag as the third driver this weekend from the EN class to win. Turns out there is going to be hope after all for the aristocrats. And right now, absolutely going forward here into the final few corners here. Sven Jensen has done absolutely what he needs to do to try to bring that car up at the top. Sakura, meanwhile, has done a valiant effort to get into P3, but it won't be enough for her to be in the CEO. Sven Jensen will provide sparks of joy for all of the aristocrats watching as he now comes into the final corner. So Byung-eun has a sudden engine failure at the final lap of the race, but meanwhile Sven Jensen brings a glimmer of hope for all of the aristocrats watching, as we're now seeing Patterson and Rudy now make their way up a position. So Byung-eun is now out. This will bump Rudy up into 13th. Patterson up into 13th, Rudy into 14th. So slight change in complexion for the standings, but it will still be So Byung-eun who will be at the top end of the standings. But congratulations though to Sven Jensen for making it 3 out of 3 for the EN class here in Mandalika. As we're now going to officially finish up the racing order here. Only J, Doc Patterson, Rudy, and So Byung-eun. Alright, we're just gonna get the points. We're just gonna get the points up, and right now we are going to confirm the situation here in the championship standings for Split C. Right. Alright, so it will be Sven Jensen taking the checkered flag for today's race. Very good stuff there from the Irish driver with Rai Kagawa not far behind in P2. Misaki Sakura has put up a valiant effort, as we've mentioned earlier, to try to get herself to force that car into CEO contention, but it just wasn't meant to be. Sakura will race in the World Zako, but maybe race in the World in the JP Studio. Well, we'll have to wait and see for all the updates coming up. Was it P4 with Iron P5? Nakamura in P6 will also not do enough to get herself into the CEO. Wait. Oh wait, never mind. I just wanted to realize that there has been a slight change. Yeah, Lexi Bowen has actually dropped down into P8, while Nakamura is in P7. Hazik Yazid is in this one. Hazik Yazid. Okay, so I think there is still no change in the running order. But anyways, Nakamura is in P6, Yazid 7th, Lexi Bowen in 8th, Hanami Kiriko is in P9, and Chaka Labradorus makes up your top 10. And then that guy in P11 is the last of the Orica drivers. The last of the Orica drivers, Ali JP12 for Kikirara VB, Diane Patterson for Isaki Riona, and Rudy for Mizumiyasa will not make the CEO, as does Ri Liu, who actually didn't even properly start the race for Rindo Chihaya. So Byung-eun's is P15 finished, but because he won at Fuji Speedway earlier this year, this will mean that he will be safe in CEO contentions. I just wanted to confirm the running order. Okay, so that should be everyone here, as it's been a very interesting race. But we are just gonna do something before we move on into Split D. Sven Jensen, who started on at 3rd place, has done a very good job here. Actually, given the circumstances. So you got, again, let's give a round of applause to Sven Jensen and the aristocrats for absolutely showcasing the faith in him. And right now we're just gonna do some saving before we move over into Split D. But anyways, let's share. I would like to hear your thoughts before we start the Split D races coming up. All right. So the results are there, but the total time and delta was not there. I don't know why this is the case, but we're just gonna have to keep on progressing here. Right, now it's going to be the It's not going to be the split D drivers' turns. We're just gonna do some all right, so we're gonna do some split B runs here. All right, so you might want to take some time to wait up. All right. Before we get into the qualifying for Split D, let's take a look into what the Split C standings look like. All right. So after the Mandalika race in Split C, Sven Jensen has actually overtaken. Well, not exactly overtaken, right? Sven Jensen has essentially guaranteed a spot at the top end of the HoloProto Split C standings, World Split C standings, and basically guarantee himself a spot into the Suyo. Same goes for Ryan Kagawa, Irid, Lexi Bowen, Sub Young-eun as the only Ligier driver, well, the only Flow driver to qualify for the Suyo. Finally, Kiriko Chakalapador and Aziz Waze this time making the World Suyo at the cost of Rudy, Ed Sky, Misaki Sakura, who put up a very valiant effort at the recent Split C race. However, it just wasn't enough for her. Nakamura, Ryu, Ali J, Hazuki Yazid, and Dak Patterson, they will be the ones who are occupying the back end of the field. And from 9 forwards, they will be the ones who will be racing in the World Zaku. And now looking into the Split D standings before we conclude the stream for the weekend. Let's take a look into the current situation here. Rafael de Oliveira is currently in control of the current standing situation in Split C. In Split D, with Seirin, Daniel Barger, Masaraido also waiting in the wings. Shango and Tyler Williams actually are tied on points right now, but with Shango's is third place at Fuji, that is the tiebreaker that breaks. Well, that's basically the tiebreaker. Just can't help but wonder about the situation coming up. But anyways, let's continue on the talk for the standings here. Count Gibbons and Jake Martinez are currently occupied the two spots above the Zako cut line, with of course Lorenzo Ricci and Vlasa Damashev also looking to find a way into the Suyo with a good result. Same goes for Johnny Pranata, who also is still in the running for the CEO. However, for Inoichi Tayo, Angela Sims, Joey, Bosha Narissa, and Josh Azure, they must have a good result, a win maybe, to get themselves into the CEO series coming up. And of course, it's easier said than done, because that's literally the case for these entries. Now out of the way, let's take a short break. So we're going to move our butts into qualifying. And we already have notification that our first cars are out. That looks like, well, actually we can't tell because everyone's running the t-shirt variant of the outfit based on the last performance. Oh, it's Joshua Zuri. Joshua Zuri currently in the currently having a very wretched season. DNFs after DNFs after DNFs. He just cannot catch a break this season as the defending and soon to be reigning World Serial Champion from last year. You just have to feel for this guy who, for a lot of times, had issues with how the race was being run. Alright, so we're going to be seeing how Joshua Zuri does his outlap and see how he basically sees this issue here. Traffic will play a part onto this one. So he only has a left part of, well, traffic in the form of a legalized driver. Joshua Zuri is currently being blocked. Right now, but he does have the advantage. So he might force a move right here, right now. Oh no, he's actually fallen back on. But this one he's going to force his way down the inside of Sarin here nonetheless to try to force a move. Try to force that car into... And 54.072, this is not looking very good there for Proto. Now coming into the final corner on the side of corner here is not going to be a very convincing run for Missouri. And now exiting the final corner. And you can tell there that the traffic issue has absolutely costed him the lap, with reaching now sitting at 123.421. Granata, another local driver representing a local VTuber, has already done his lap. He's a 123.616. And Sims P8. And Callaghan is only 3/10 off of the fastest time and could be in the running here for pole position. Let's see how Cal Gibbons goes with more drivers at the back. That's Daniel Barger for Shimaki Suisei. Exiting the final corner, looking very good. Daniel Barger, Gibbons in P3. Now it's going to be Daniel Barger in P3. He's about to start his lap. Not also having a great lap for him as well. It is also going to be consigned into the World Zaco. That's an even worse lap than Azurit. What is going on here? And meanwhile, here Rafael de Oliveira, fresh off his win at Laguna Seca, has now put the car into P3. Tyler Williams in P4. Take a look into Zoe here. Sound engines. As we're seeing Joey make his way into the circuit. It's clear that Delicious have been struggling at a rate of not here. You can see they're already like 1.6 seconds behind. Masarita, meanwhile, is in P11 ahead of Sims and Shadow Reza. That will be a achievement of itself. They're being faster than the Orcus after the ballast has been applied. blast here for Joey as the last car out on the grid, and it will be P14 for him. It's a decent job, you know? Solid run right now. It looks to me that this will be the grid here. Lorenzo Ricci will start on pole position. Local driver Jordi Pranata will start P2. Oliveira on road 2. Finally back up here with the Australia Zurich Charlie Reza, who's currently out of the CU as it stands. Now, for Reza, a P4 will be the minimum. For Azuri, a P2 will be necessary. So it will be a case of context here, as we're now going to take a short break before we announce the starting lineup. Alright, that's the grid lined up, and we're about to show you how the grid will look like right this instant. So, with that out of the way, let's take a look into the starting lineup here for today's split D race of the Epilogue 600 Mandalika. Lorenzo Ricci will start ahead of Jordi Pranata in second place. This will be a front row representing Marine and Hoshinova Muna respectively. The winner from last 2 weeks ago, well, will be lining up with Tyler Williams, who's currently starting in P3. Yeah, here's the winner of the Laguna Seca race. This is our Deputy 400, Rafael Oliveira starting in P4. Then the Bucket starts P5 for Shimachi Suisei, with Cal Gibbons starting P6 for Roboco. Number 7 will comprise of Inoshi Tayo and Vladislav Demashnev. With P9 and P10 going to Jake Martinez and Joshua Azurid, representing Toa and Morihale respectively. Masarida will start P11 for Todoroki Hajime, with Angel Sims P12 for Aida Melvisa. Shadreza will start 13 for Koseki Bebo, with Joey 14 for Jufute Raden. Strongo starts P15 for Ichijo Ririka, with Seirin P16 for Otodese Kanade. And now I got the cars lined up. We are not going to waste a lot more time. We're now here for our one more race here in Mandalika before we finish off the weekend. It's Lorenzo Ricci on pole position, leading the field here in Mandalika, and we are off here in Lombok, and it's going to be Lorenzo Ricci having a very good start, and looking at how the rest of the field basically deals with the situation here. Oh, that's a bold move from Hinoshi Chaya to go down the inside of Callum Gibbons this early in the race. But I think it's working like a charm. Azur's now moved up into P8. And as you can see here, there's a bit of a contact between Azurid and Callum Gibbons. As now he's up into P7. That's a great start from the reigning champion. With Ricci now leading Pranata, Williams, Bargadil, Oliveira in the top 5. Tayo and Azurid in P7. The Gibbons in 8th, Demashev 9th, Masarida in 10th. And now we're seeing the Regalos cars getting absolutely swamped further back as they're being overtaken here. Hinoshi Tayo now trying to see if she can go down the inside of, or rather, Azuri is going to go down the inside of Tayo. Anyways, Aaron has now just passed Chongo for the final points position. But of course, Aaron isn't gonna give this one up yet. She will try to find a move around the outside. Which Chongo has it covered. Also, right meanwhile has been the pass under the flush of the Mashnev. Jake Martinez about to try to make it 3 wide. And actually, it's going to be a double overtake though from Martinez as he made the pass onto the Mashnev, but I don't think the double overtake has just happened. Martinez, it will stick around for P10. Tayo now in P6, trying to chase the Rivera for P5. Barger in P4. Rivera still in P5, looking very solid here at the moment as drivers are about to start lap 3, by which we will see pit stop cycle right now as Demashev and the same time Reza are about to go out of between each other, but it will be Reza who will be up into P12, but that's not a pretty good exit though into turn 1, but he has the outside line. Never mind, he's now up into P... Musarida, though, meanwhile, has a great start. He's now up into P9. Good stuff from him. And right now we are seeing Tyler Williams trying to do a Cabernet Riba, and this time Tyler Williams is starting in P3. So Tyler Williams might actually be the EN class driver to win at Mandalika, and it will be 4 of 4 for Mandalika, and yeah. Speaking of about the split C results, Dag Patterson has refused to comment, looking very distraught in the face as well. Having not only not qualified for the World CEO or the JP CEO, but having also not... Well, I think he might still have a chance at the JP CEO from what I can tell. Looking into the JP Split C standings. Into the provisional standings here at the moment, Dag Patterson, of course, will also not make the JP CEO either, which is absolutely gut-wrenching for him. Just wanted to... Oh no, Saul Bjorklund have also not made the JP Suyo. I just noticed. But now this will now be up to the split D drivers to try to get things done and dusted. I mean, Joey is also officially out of the CEO, from what I can tell as well. Shango might still make the CEO regardless, but of course being in 14th place doesn't help. And also Vlasta Demashev is out. Vlasta Demashev is out, and it looks to me that this is a case of, wait for it. Boom. Engine failure. For Demashev, that will be him out of the race and potentially being in a jeopardizing position. He's already out of the CEO. He is already out of the CEO. Well, he's not out of the CEO just yet, as this will rely on results from Cal Gibbons and Jake Martinez. On which they will probably need a P5 or higher to displace the Mashnev. Saren will be the next driver under series risk on this one. Masaraido is currently said to be the device class car that will make the World Suyo, well, the JP Suyo, as well as potentially Saren. Very difficult to predict given the circumstances. Ripa qualified at the back, but managed to climb up into P3. But Williams will try to go in a long game and to stay at the front, but we'll have to see how it goes. Pranata now in P2, Richie still in the race. Richie becomes the first driver to come into the pit. Same goes for Tony Pranata. So Williams will now take the lead from this point on. We'll have to see how far he can go. Margaret and Taya also make their way into pits. So it's going to take some time here to get this thing sorted. So we're now seeing Lorenzo Ricci exit behind Saren. So in the case of De Oliveira and Azura, this will be a good chance for them to gain some time. And looking at Azura, who will not be pitting. Oh, he will be pitting this lap. But I think he has a good chance though of gaining some time. And now coming into the pits goes Azura. His next competitors will be, of course, Nuptayo and Daniel Barger. They are now coming into turn 12 right now. Now, Sarah is also coming into the pits as well. Has now exited ahead of Joey and Masaraido. His next opponent will be Angela Sibbs. Azura has now gone behind Barger, so that has not gone to plan. But after what we've seen with Sakura, you could still have a late race charge. As example, Azura will be Zako bound in the World Series, that is. De Oliveira will, Williams will have worn out tires, but he will have the biggest gap out of anyone. And I'm not sure if these drivers will be able to close it. And everyone's just calming down right now with their races going on as usual. Pass on to Seirin. Autorito, meanwhile, has dropped down to P14. Pit stop's not working as intended for him. And then looking into the pit stops chart just yet. Sims, Shango, Gibbons, De Oliveira have yet to make a pit stop. Williams will be committing to a zero-stop strategy. And right now, we're just gonna pay attention to the situation here. Martinez has now gone into the pits here. Masarito is in P14. This isn't gonna be right. So Masarito needs to absolutely turn on the styles. Nishtaya just beat the pass on Martinez. Lorenzo Ricci has made the pass on to Shango. And remember, driver yet to make a pit stop. Martinez has just gone out in P10. And I do want to point out though, has Seirin made a pit stop? No, neither did Shango. So the Regal's drivers have been really screwed big time. Pranata's now gone down the inside onto Shango. Shango will try to keep it around the outside to keep the position through. But remember, Shango has yet to make a pit stop. Shango into Sims and Rafael De Oliveira now getting called up into the pits as well. As we predicted earlier, Ghost, Sims, and Seirin now come in for their pit stops. So will have no problems clearing Sims as he will now go up into P10. Good stuff from him, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. Sims now in P11, Shango 12, Seirin P13 is going to take a decent amount of time for their pit stops. Shango P13 down. De Oliveira and Gibbons now finally make their way into the pit stop, and we will see if Lorenzo Ricci is able to catch Tyler Williams in time. And this is where Williams is at right now. track with the fresh available tires. Williams will have to contend with lap cars, but if he can clear those lap cars, then he will he'll be able to use those lap cars that he just lapped with as a pick. And right now he has already reached Joey. A big W, if you will. So Jody will at least try to go for P2. Williams, of course, will not be making any more pit stops here, as he will now try to find his way against Joey. As Joey is actually going to make it a very difficult job, though, for Williams to clear. But this will open the door there for Ricci to close the gap back to maybe around 32 seconds. Obviously, we still have much of this race to go, and right, so the gap's dropped down to 32 seconds between Ricci and Williams. Remember, Williams has yet to make a pit stop. Gap's dropped down to 31 seconds though. Looking at the rest of the field here, Azurit's now in P9, looking... Down to 30 seconds between Williams and Lorenzo Ricci. The order has not changed since the start, well, since the final pit stops have been done and the last one takes have been done 2 laps ago. So we are just going to... goes up in P10, P0, P9. Yeah, if you can tell, I'm just gonna chill here as well as the gap continues down. Williams is still in the lead with 25 seconds. With 25 second. Williams with a 24-second gap now to Ricci and Pranata. Martinez also closing in as well. Right now we are seeing Pranata now losing ground. This time Martinez is ready to chase. Martinez currently P4, Gibbons currently in P7. Jones also put himself into the series as well as Jake Martinez now clears Johnny Pranata, who now goes up into P3. Currently in the lead and will look to take over the top end of this split D standings. Lorenzo Ricci is in P2. Martinez in P3. Pranata down into P4. He's currently out of the CEO right now. And then Hino Chitayo also looking like a decent shot to get into the CEO as well. 6th place going to Rafael, who is currently leading the standings, but he will not be the one who will be lifting the trophy, not be the one who will be topping the split D standings as a result. Callie Gibbons, of course, in P7, Barker in P8, P9 going to Joshua Stewart, who still will be his best result of the season so far if he doesn't manage to finish there. Choreza in P10. Masaraido will only be in P12. Shango in P13. Position. This will mean that the Seirin will now be the last of the qualifiers. Last of the only one out of the weight loss class to qualify for the World Series. And looking into the running order here at the moment, Talons and Rafael will be topping the split D standings as it stands. Jora Panata will be the only ID class car to make it out of split D, joining the Irene 15 and 3, which may not be driven by Derek Patterson with Enzo Ferrari and Crazy Ollie. So there will only be 3 ID class cars as it stands within the running order. Currently being held by Seirin. I think it's going to be very important though that Joey does not overtake her, otherwise there will be no Nicolas representation in the studio. But never mind, I think it will still be safe. But Joey Panata suddenly doesn't have a good race. Probably going to be a different story, nonetheless. Okay, Gibbons has now made the pass onto De Oliveira. Around the outside went Gibbons into turn 1 before he passed the halfway stage. So we're gonna take a short break. We'll come back to you all in just a minute. I hope you're all still enjoying this Mandalika Epilogue 600. This time we're racing in split B. Don't go anywhere. I will get back to you in a minute. Back into racing action here. Gap's now at 17.5 seconds. Tom Williams against Lorenzo Ricci. Williams do have Saren and Joey in between him, so Williams might still have a slight bit of advantage, but we will have to see Williams' previous lap. For Williams, now having to deal with a heavily worn out tires. If you can set a 124, then it will still be a big gain, but we'll see Ricci also gain a 126. De Oliveira has managed to overtake Gibbons and maybe make the pass onto Hinochi. Reza, meanwhile, knows that he doesn't have a good chance to race in the World CEO. So he's just going to have to just chill around with learned helplessness, if you will. Anyways, Martinez now continuing to close in onto Ricci. The gap's absolutely closing down like crazy. Martinez looking for a move as early as he can. And it will be a move down the inside. Ricci keeps his line. Martinez frantically trying to find some space. This will still play into the hands of Williams, who is still just carrying on with leading this race. Ricci, meanwhile, still chasing Martinez for the top spot. While Martinez still racing Ricci for the second place spot. And you can see here, Ricci is absolutely trying everything in the book here. To defend Martinez's advancements. Poor exit though from Martinez. Will come after this corner. Sevens. Ricci is still hanging on to second place. Right now, I think this is third place in the World Qualifier standings on the line here. And now we are seeing Lorenzo Ricci trying to defend the inside line. Martinez has the outside line getting ready for him. And around the outside goes Martinez. He looks up the car very well to get that P2. As Tayo now makes the pass on to Jari Pranata. And now it's Martinez's turn to chase Tyler Williams. And of course, this is a slightly emotionally charged moment for Martinez. Martinez will now occupy P2 in the standings, 10 points ahead of Rafael de Oliveira, but still behind Tyler Williams. So many permutations going on, and we're going to be pretty much a busy day for all the drivers involved. Williams in P1, Martinez P2, Ricci P3. Gaps drop down to 12.9 seconds between the two cars up at the front. 124. 140 for Martinez with about 12 laps to go. De Oliveira now moves up into P5 against Tsunoshi Tayo, who currently is dropping down like a stone. Oh, contact between Tayo and De Oliveira. Now Gibbons is going to be joining in on the fight here. This is for P. And now you can see Gibbons having to back off on that as well. There's no space to go. Great racecraft there and great thinking there from Gibbons. Tayo now up into P5. To go. The gap between Williams and Martinez has dropped down to 8.2 seconds, so it's way later than usual. Williams has already cleared Sarin and Joe, as we've established before. Not Shango and Masaraido. Masaraido now absolutely charging forward with a huge amount of momentum here. But I'm not sure if it's going to be enough for him to be in the CEO. It will be Sarin instead of, unless there's a retirement in the top 10, which I might think that might be the case. down to 7 seconds still. Williamson Martinez. De Oliveira 6. Chasing Hiroshitayo, who is running at P5, so we are just going to double check here. Martinez Ricci. Renata Tayo. And now it's De Oliveira and Gibbons. Barger and Zurich. Shadowreza and Angel Sims has actually made the pass onto Shadowreza, which actually makes things interesting because this will mean Sims will still be ahead of Shadowreza. This time the gap will be 17 points. So right over P12 will be the first driver out of the studio. Saren will be the one that will be racing in his place instead. So even if Joey makes the pass to Saren, unless Wasaraido gets into P11, which I think it's going to be very unlikely unless there is a last lap retirement. Laps done. We are now at lap 27. Sims trying to chase Azurid. Well, for Azurid's standards this season, this has got to be a big win for him when he finally gets up into the top, gets into more consistent top 10 finishes. Obviously, it's not really saying something when you literally occupy the bottom end of the standings here. I mean, he has a decent finish of 11th at Laguna Seca. He crashed out at Fuji, crashed out at Le Mans, crashed out at Burram. In Sebring, he actually finished, but in P13. In Laguna Seca, he only finished in 11th. Azur is gonna have to. You can't help but think that this has been very underwhelming season. In P6. Now looking for something against this guy of P5. Since right now Williams will still be able to take the checkers. Where come there River failed, may succeed, but only because of track position in qualifying. And right now Williams is still hanging on to the lead at the moment, but the gap is now dropped down to 7 seconds, and we are now at 7 laps to go. And remember, Jake Martinez is racing for Tokoyami Toa, who is currently has had issue with health so far. So there is obviously a massive sentiment to try to keep going here for Martinez, for Toa, who has been plagued with recent health issues. But we will have to see. Switch positions here. That's Yoshitayo making a mistake, and that will allow De Oliveira and Gibbons to go up a position or two. And so Yoshitayo is going to drop down into P7. De Rivera is not into P5, Gibbons to P6, Tayo, Barger is right now about to go that side by side. Azura is gonna look to get that P8. Still no change in the running order. If Jordi Panata somehow crashes out, then it will be him out. And right now there is a big kerfuffle for P8. Barger still defending, but it will be Azurijo now who will be making the pass done onto Barger. Down in position. So this will mean Joshua Zurich will not occupy last place in the standings. As it stands, it will be Joey instead. If Jody crashes out, if Barger crashes out, well, especially if Pranata crashes out, which I don't think will be the case, he will still stick around in P4 to be the only ID class car amongst the World Split D to qualify for the World CEO. 126.7 for Williams. Martinez at a 6.5, and now looking into this one, there are still a few cars separating between them. It's now Sean Go and Tyler Williams has actually cleared Sean Go, and he still has to clear Masarida, but Masarida is quite a further back though. I'm not sure. Martinez has the pace though to keep on the pressure. Gibbons is now currently in P6. Now for P5, still pretty much on from these two. Which is not there for Williams. But I think Williams has his thing pretty much covered. It hasn't closed back down. It's still at 6.3 seconds. I think Martinez cannot find any more pace in that number 10, but it will still be a valiant effort from him as the EN class has absolutely dominated the proceedings for this weekend. All four of the winners are set to be EN class cars. 3 of them have already been confirmed. This one is pending with about less than 3 laps to go after this one. One retirement from one unlucky driver will be the one that will send not one but 3 lost cars into the World CEO. 126.2 for this one, Williams. 126.4 for Martinez. So he's actually slower than Williams on that last lap. Lap 33, and Martinez is still chasing. And here comes Martinez clearing the lap car of looks like Shango. Williams, meanwhile, has opened up a 10-second gap, and it looks to me that he will be unstoppable. March of time is inevitable for everyone here. Williams now in complete control. Joey in P15. Warner in P9. Azura in P8. Let's go into the race field monitor. Big Xander as we go spin Jake Martinez as what Masaki Sakura had done, but this time it will be Martinez's success story as he will secure a spot in the CEO. Same goes for Tyler Williams and Lorenzo Ricci for their great results, as well as Rafael Oliveira, Jody Pranata, and Caleb Gibbons as it stands. Unless there is a last lap retirement that is gonna absolutely throw a spanner in the works, as we're now seeing Shannon Reza trying to make way past Alec and Angela Sims for the top 10 spot. Tyler Williams has just started the final lap of the race, now setting a very good time of 1:25.923 for his standard. Lassa Damashem already out of the circuit. Not wanting to talk more after he has now been eliminated from the CEO. But for Tyler Williams, you can't help but have that bit of have that sense of pride. And I think Crony have already won. Crony has already won, I believe, a race in looking into the win records here. Of course, we are just gonna check here. Williams having already won 5 races, 2 for Kanata, well, 3. And I think this will be his first for our Crony as he now comes out into the final corner. The march of time has been inevitable. The storm has been approaching, and it has now come in the form of Tyler Williams as he's now going to cross the checkered flag to win Split D of the Epilogue 600 at Mandalika. Great racing from an orthodox strategy for him to take the checkered flag. Martinez crosses the line in P2 with a valiant effort from him. Ricci will score P3. Pranata in P4 will be the one that will be qualifying for the CEO. And Azurid versus it's Azurid. Azurid's dropped down into P11 for not a lot of reasons, but he's now dropped down into P11. He's made a mistake at the hairpin corner, and that will cost him more positions. And Masaraido now the last driver to cross the line. Shango is lapped. Sarin is lapped. Joey is lapped. Oh, wait. Or rather, yeah. Sarin now moves up a position to try to get herself further up. Masaraido in P12. Joey in P15. We're just gonna wait until he crosses the line, and I think that will be it for... to get confirmation of the running order before we conclude today's stream. All right. So, this is a race that has not had a lot of attrition here. So, let's take a look into the running order here as we're about to finalize the Split D standings. And, of course, congratulations to Tyler Williams for his win, which actually elevates him up into the top of the standings of Split D qualifiers. Everyone has now moved away from single-digit scores. So as we're going to double check on the results of Tyler Williams, take the checkered flag over Jake Martinez in P2. Lorenzo Ricci finishes P3. for Hosho Marine, which is also a good return for the JP class car. Lorenzo Ricci has now moved up into the Tsuyo as well. And also joining them will be Callum Gibbons and Daniel Barger, who have had respectable campaigns to make their way into the Tsuyo. Pranata and Seirin. Johnny Pranata and Seirin actually. Oh, yep, Seirin will make the World Tsuyo ahead of Masaraido. From what we're seeing here. So Masaraido and Chongo have been shuffled out of the Tsuyo positions as well, which is a massive, massive shame. Let me see here. Pranata 4th, De Oliveira 5th, Callum Gibbons 6th, Hinochi Tayo 7th, Barker 8th, Angel Sims 9th, and Muhammad Shadi Reza in 10th. At least that's what the result of this race goes. Azure in 11th, Masaraido 12th, Chongo 13th, Seirin 14th, and Joey rounds up the 15th place spot. But of course, we're just gonna have to check on the running order. Alright, I think that should be it for today's stream. We're just gonna have to do some replay saving first before we take a look into the final running order of the race here. Tal Williams, who of course started in P3, has done everything he needs to do. To basically grab the checkered flag and to basically put himself into the World CEO. And also top split D as a result, so that is also a pretty much a major plus for the... it's going to be a major plus for the cronies. Yeah, that's the name. But anyway, so let's take a look into the final championship running order, especially for Split D, as we are now finally finished with all of the racing situation here. Alright, so let's take a look into the final running order for Split D. Tyler Williams now will be the Split D winner as he tops the group. So, Rafael de Oliveira, Jake Martinez, and Lorenzo Ricci, after their recently great campaigns, have put themselves in a good position to be secure there. With Callum Gibbons, Daniel Barger being the other of the JP and international cars to make their way up there. Also, a good thing to note, it's now 4 out of 4 EN class winners in Mandalika. Talk about a British, talk about an English-speaking invasion of Indonesia. With Seirin being the only one of the re-class drivers to have made the World Tsuyo. Masaraido, Chongo, Laszlo Damashnev, Hinochi Tayo, Angela Sims, Muhammad Shadi Reza, Joey, and Joshua Azurit will be out and will be racing in the World Zaku instead. With Joshua Azurit being a very unfortunate package, having been involved in 3 separate accidents, an incident that resulted in him not finishing the race. Which is an absolute shock and an absolute disappointment, unfortunately. Get out of the way. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in to today's races. We hope everyone has enjoyed it as much as we do. And, you know, it's been a fun stream to have with not a lot of people watching, though. But again, thank you for your viewership. That being said, my name is Muhammad Shadi Reza in the commentary booth, and you've been watching the Epilogue 600 and Mandalika Split C and D races. We hope to see you again next week for the finale of HoloLive GT3, and this time it will be confirmed. It's confirmed that HoloLive GT3 will no longer run as a championship. But we hope to see you next week for more HoloLive racing. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
you